Stoicism is a philosophy focused on building inner strength, living virtuously, and embracing whatever life throws at you. But let's be real, diving into the sea of Stoic knowledge to find insights relevant to you can be quite overwhelming. That's where Einzelgänger's Stoicism for Inner Peace really shines. Stoicism for Inner Peace is a collection of Stoic teachings designed to tackle the challenges of daily life. From finding happiness and embracing uncertainty to providing actionable insights on challenging emotions, the book allows you to navigate Stoic knowledge based on what is relevant to your situation, providing clear, practical advice, and there is no greater convenience in that. Today, we embark on a journey through Stoicism for Inner Peace, unearthing its core lessons that navigate the maze of emotions, uncertainty, and contentment. This is Stoicism reshaped for the modern age, ancient philosophy distilled into easy to digest, easy to assimilate nuggets of wisdom. Stoicism has many practical and rational lessons, and the practice of these teachings can provide many benefits. These teachings can be applied to many situations, including ones that cause us distress. Einzelgänger touches upon various emotions related to inner peace. He also touches upon perspectives on inner peace from various Stoics and explores popular Stoic exercises and concepts. In this video, we'll be exploring Stoic insights regarding what others think, our happiness, and also the popular concept Amor Fati. Concern over what others think is a common issue in daily life, and for many of us is a source of anxiety. We're concerned with how others perceive us in our personal life, and with the prevalence of social media, we're also concerned with the perception our digital life gives off as well. Stoics would argue that having a good reputation is a preferred indifferent, meaning it's nice to have but not essential for living a good life. After all, if you live well, what should it matter what others think about you? The book goes on to remind us that we can't control the opinions of others, and what is outside of our control is fickle. The more we value things beyond our control, the less control we have. And no matter how hard you try, there will always be people who just don't like you. That's something we have to be comfortable with accepting as a natural part of life. There are many reasons why people may have such opinions about you, and whilst we cannot control what others think, we can control how we decide to react to it. Overall, choose not to be hurt by the opinions of others by worrying less about things that are outside of your control and irrelevant to your well-being. At the end of the day, what other people think is none of your business. Many people are concerned with achieving happiness, but often lack the skill and knowledge to do so. The Stoics believed they had figured out the keys to happiness, but happiness is different for everyone. For the Stoics, the ultimate happiness is best described by the term eudaimonia, a state of flourishing and living well. The book looks at 3 portals to Stoic happiness which you can access and derive benefits from. Portal of right judgment. Stoics believe that events aren't inherently good or bad, but it is the mind which colours our perceptions of these events. This is important because most things are beyond our control, but what is in our control is our opinion and our ability to judge. And how experiences affect us depend on how we judge them. A growth mindset is a great example of this. You can judge your failures and mistakes negatively, or you can judge them positively as a sign of you learning and applying yourself. For the portal of virtue, the Stoics were big proponents on living virtuously and in accordance with nature. Virtues are things considered good and in accordance with nature. Vices are things considered bad and go against nature. Pretty simply, to live a happy life, you must live virtuously and avoid vice. Of course, life is full of complexity and there's a lot of grey areas. You could be wealthy, poor, sick, or in good health, and these different conditions can impact your ability to live a virtuous life. These things aren't essential to living well, however. A good man can be poor, a healthy man can live in vice. These things aren't necessary to living virtuously and shouldn't be the focus of living a good life. Lastly, the portal of low expectations. The Stoics argue to keep your expectations low. We often tend to have high expectations for things which we have no control over. This leads to disappointment, as things don't often work out the way we expect them to. We feel a sense of entitlement towards life, that we are owed good fortune. Yet the Stoics would remind us that we are entitled to nothing other than what life has already provided to us. Thus, lowering your expectations would make adversity more bearable and life more enjoyable. The final concept is that of Amor Fati, which translates to mean love of fate. It's a concept in Stoic philosophy in which we aim to embrace and love what life has in store for us. It can be quite difficult to practice Amor Fati, especially because we have an aversion and desire towards things playing out in a certain way or towards specific outcomes. To help us practice Amor Fati, we can try to expose ourselves to the things we have an aversion towards, things such as our fears and our worries. For example, a worry of mine is that by putting myself out there on YouTube, I'll be laughed at and ridiculed. And so for a long time, I procrastinated on making videos for YouTube. I kept putting it off. But eventually I realised the only way to get over this was to do the very thing I was so averse to, which was making videos such as the one you're watching now. By exposing ourselves to our fears and our worries, we realised they weren't as bad as they seemed. Seneca said that we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality, meaning that often our imagined worries are way worse than the actual reality. So try not to worry too much, and if you are, expose yourself to that worry bit by bit, to really gauge how bad it actually is, which in most cases isn't that bad at all. Another technique to embrace whatever life has for us is to see any outcome as a potential opportunity. You might be going through something difficult and can only see the negatives of the situation, but there might be an opportunity there that you're missing, or at the very least there will be meaning that you're not seeing. My favourite example of this is of Viktor Frankl and his time at the Nazi concentration camp. Anybody in his situation would not be faulted for only seeing the negativity in his current plight. However, Victor found meaning in his time at the Nazi concentration camp through being able to practice his theory of logotherapy. Eventually, he wrote his experiences into a book detailing how, even though he was suffering tremendously, he found meaning in his suffering, and that allowed him to get through it and also transform his life after the camp as well. If you are interested in hearing more about Viktor Frankl's story, I made a video going over his book, so please check that out. I'll post the video up here. But Viktor Frankl's journey shows us that even though we may be going through something horrific, there is meaning that can be found in our suffering. And that's something that we can try to embrace. Lastly, try to embrace the present. We spend so much time worrying about the future, attempting to recreate the past, and resisting change that's happening in the present. But life doesn't work like that. All you ever experience is the present moment. So try to worry a bit less about the future and the past, and just embrace whatever happens in the here and now. Amor Fati is the art of embracing whatever happens and not needing anything more than what the present moment has in store for us. That was my summary of the book Stoicism for Inner Peace by Einzelgänger. I briefly touched upon 3 of the lessons within the book, but there are many more contained within. So if you are interested in reading more, please do check out the book. Alternatively, Einzelgänger runs a very successful YouTube channel in which he creates video essays on topics related to what's been discussed in this video. So please check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description. The book has had a big impact on me. It's been very helpful for me when I've been dealing with things that I need a second insight into. I find that the insights in the book are accessible, convenient, and really helpful. So I can't recommend the book enough. And I really hope you've been able to absorb some of the teachings in this video. That would make my day and make me very happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.